Hey everyone, what we have here today is a bike that's just it's creating a little bit of interest on the groups on Facebook, on, on the BMX pages, and especially the Australian ones. It's the Progear Retro 20-inch BMX. Otherwise, we'll just call it the Bunnings BMX or the Bunnings Progear. I've had this about a month or so. It's I bought it for my stepdaughter. It's I've got no way I'll ever ride down the street on this thing. For that I've got Monza, great bike. Check them out, Monza BMX Club. So this one I've really just only changed the wheels on. Gone to the Skyway 2. Tough wheel, and I did want to get the Comp 3 type tyres, but the only ones I could find in this colour don't have a gum wall. I'm a bit undecided on the solid colour for that. So it's largely as it arrived. So handlebars, plastic seat, barely layback, seat post. We've got the original brakes, which have been a bit of a nightmare, but I think they've finally come good. Had to do some toe adjustments on it. It's just making your traditional tough wheel noise. But overall, I did have a go at this bike yesterday. We had them out and had it out, and just wanted to see how it went because she was complaining about some weird vibration, but I couldn't find it. Maybe it's my heavier frame sort of settles that out a bit. So it is what it is. Look, it's a kid's bike. It's not chrome plated, it's chrome painted. It's very deceiving in that regard, but I guess if you just read it a little bit better, that'll become apparent. I really don't like these handlebars myself. They too much of an angle back this way, so I will upgrade them. This front fork though, it's I'm not a fan of it at all. I mean, it looks silly with the freestyle type tyre on it as well. It doesn't have the width to fill it out, but it's a really chunky bar, and then your dropouts here, that's the worst. But yeah, if I was to undo that nut now and take it off, you'd see that it was actually it was made for the bigger axles, like a later bike, like a new school with its fatter centre axles. But we've got the obligatory dice on there as well. And the crank basically, when I got this bike, I had to tighten everything up. I don't think I had to tighten up the headset, but then obviously I had to put these handlebars in, and yeah, it's that crank has unwound itself a little bit, but I've done that up again and it's been fine. The biggest issue, like I said, is this front fork, and I think the dropouts are too far apart from each other as well. They don't seem to like the Skyway wheel, but it's a fairly easy part to upgrade. There's you got your standard size bottom bracket, and what looks to be like a nice sort of chain ring and spider, which it's quite, I don't know, it looks quite cheap and flimsy really. I don't know, without getting the vernier calipers on it looks kind of thin, but the bolts and stuff are quite small. They don't look like, they definitely look very cheap, very Chinese. There's kickstand sort of mount, so it just kicks it off for an 11-year-old girl, it looks the part, it will look the part. I do have purple parts on order, like seat post, clamp, and front grips. But yeah, I've got a vision of what this might end up like, but I don't really want to go to town on spending up for parts. These purple brakes are incredibly hard to come by. They are out there, but shipping costs are as much as the actual item as well. So rattle can might just finish those sort of things off nicely, and yeah, I can see myself upgrading the front forks and the handlebars, and if stepdaughter grows a bit taller and needs more reach, put a better seat post in it. But apart from that, it's been a pretty good bike, and I think the back wheel likes to move around a little, even though it's got the chain tensioners on it, the cheap shitty ones, but it looks the part. The geometry is not exactly, it's more to a mid-school sort of thing than an old school, but with the chrome, I guess, and just the big chain wheel and the old style of wheels does come off as a bit of an old school thing, which it's alright. I mean, the girl loves it. She thinks it's brilliant. It is really nice to ride. I will give it that. I never ever rode it, or she never rode it with the original wheels and tyres. They came off on the same day it turned up. We had the green Tufts and the purple tyres on, which, that was a bit of my childhood dream, the green Tuff sort of wheels, and I only ever had a black set and I wanted a green set. The dude who did have a green set, they were really shit, whereas I had the really good ones with the bolt-in hubs, and no, I could not be coerced into swapping those for the green ones at the time, but yeah. I'd rate this bike maybe a 6. It's got, it's going to do the kids get around on, and, it looks the part. You just got to do the bit of maintenance and stuff when you get it. Obviously, you can't just whack it together and send your kids out on it. It'll more than likely fall apart. So just put an hour or so into getting that bottom bracket sorted. Maybe even re-grease it. I did put some grease in it. And it's, yeah. But these pads are really shocking. I mean, look at that. And it's not even really a V-bar. I can take a straight pad and you wouldn't even notice that it was a V-bar. They're really thin, and I don't know. It is what it is, a Chinese bike, but headset looks sort of, and the neck looks a bit cheap, but then it hasn't really moved. I'll give it that. It's held tension, and bars have stayed in place, and so I can't really be upset at that. It's just, for me being a bigger guy and trying to ride this bike, the bars do feel somewhat flimsy. But I'm sure it's fine for the kids, they don't weigh as much as I do, so it's not a bad little thing. It is fairly light. I haven't got some fishing scales to weigh it with, but it is surprisingly lightweight for what it is. It's high tensile steel. Obviously, you're not going to get a chrome ollie bike for $200 odd or whatever it was. I didn't get this one from Bunnings. I did get it from Catch, but it's the same bike, and turns out it's cheaper at Bunnings. I've seen these up to $600 on these websites. So, if you're just looking for something that looks the part and send the kids out on and remind you of your bloody childhood, well, you could do worse. But then, my intention eventually is to, get hold of one of them Skyway frames, and whatever good parts I put onto this particular bike will just get transferred onto that one. So it just serves the purpose for a time. But yeah, it's, it looks close to the old school. It's just not quite. It's just not quite like this geometry. It just doesn't. You got a really long top tube. Actually, that bottom tube's a thicker diameter down into your standard sort of seat post diameter tube, but that's very short as opposed to a true old school frame. yeah, I am happy with it. I am happy with it. Good thing, I guess, with bikes, unless, you know, the frame's broken or whatever, you can, whatever problems that may have out of the box, you can iron out. You know, and yeah, I fully trust this bike with the little girl on it, and like I said, she loves it. So yeah, thank you for watching, and safe riding. Thanks.